Hey, this is Leslie with Comfortable Shoes Studio. Welcome to art journaling number 8, making collage materials out of deli paper. I wanted to do a few videos before I started making any gel plate videos about making collage materials with things that aren't the gel plate. I know I, for a long time, really resisted getting a gel plate, well, in part because you can make them with gelatin if you are crafty like that, and I am, but also because gel plate's pretty expensive. It's a big investment. You got to take care of them, and I didn't want to spend that much money. So before I spent money on a gel plate, I used to make my own collage materials, and I did it like this, not necessarily with deli paper, but with a variety of other materials. So, in this video, I'm using deli paper, which has become one of my favorite papers to use for collage because it is so darn thin. And when you add a gel medium to it, or any sort of medium, it kind of disappears. It puts like a little haze over what's behind it, but it really disappears into the background. So combining with the deli paper on this one, I'm using Inktense pencils. So with the Inktense, I'm then just going over it with some water to set it, and kind of spread the color around a little bit, and just setting that color over the doodles. So I'm basically just doodling. I'm making shapes here. I'm sticking to one or two colors in the same color family on each sheet of paper. And each one of these is 1/4 of a 12 by 11-ish sheet of deli paper. I did get the largest size deli paper I could find on Amazon, and ordered a box of 500 sheets. And it was 100% worth it. I haven't even used half the box, and I use it a lot. I keep a couple of sheets of deli paper tucked into the back of all of my planners, my sketchbooks, my notebooks, and I will doodle on them when I'm in meetings. I'll doodle on them when I'm thinking, and just generally just fill up the deli paper with ink and pencils and various marks. It's great stuff. Great stuff. So you can see I'm just folding it into quarters here, and going back into it, just doodling. So I find it really relaxing to do this. I just, yeah, I could sit here and I can doodle on this paper for hours. This is greatly sped up. I wanted to get the video down around 15 minutes ish, if not less. And so I did speed it up a lot. And just doodling the little oval shapes here over and over and over again. Adding some water. And I'm using like dirty water that, I've used for a couple of other things. Uh, the water's pretty gray and grungy, which I like. I like doing that for collage materials because it tends to tone down these really vibrant colors. I love a vibrant color, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't always match, and sometimes it's a little jarring when I do finally use it for collage. But in the case of this, adding in a little bit of gray water tones down that orange quite a bit. And here I'm just going back into it with the India ink color Inktense pencil. So my Inktense collection is something I have built up over time. I buy Inktense pencils one at a time out of the open stock at Artists and Craftsmen. They are very expensive, and I found that I use not so many colors. I use the same 5 or 6 colors over and over and over again. India ink is one of them, red, orange, yellow, another one of them. I'm drawn to those really bright, vibrant colors, purple. I also really like the purple color. I do a lot of underdrawings with, I think it's a Prussian blue, but looks more like um, kind of a Payne's gray to me. Um, and so Inktense, I have a stormy kind of relationship with. I did do a light fastness testing of my Inktense pencils quite a few years back. If you search my blog, you'll find it. And a lot of the Derwent pencils are not light fast. So I try not to use them in finished artwork because of that. Now I have read that they've done some reformulation over the years, and I have looked at their reformulated chart, and they do claim that more of these are light fast than they used to. So I should probably, sit down and do some light fastness testing of these pencils. Again, just using a big, wide brush. I think this is the Prussian blue. Um, just, getting all those hash marks covered in the blue, in the water, spreading that color around a little bit. Then doing a kind of scribbly texture, wet into wet, um, onto this really sopping wet background with another shade of blue. This is a brighter blue. So here are the finished things. I hit them with the heat gun. I'm grabbing some of the scraps, and I'm gonna go back into them with more Inktense here. I'm trying out a little leafy botanical thing going on here, and definitely use the wrong shade of green for this, which you'll see in a little bit. It becomes a very abstract leafy thing. I do really like this bright green. It's very vibrant in person. It's less vibrant on the screen. So I'm adding some yellow here into the background. Just kind of play around. This again, sticking to the same color family. So then I go in with my big mop brush. I'm moving that color around, and I'm noticing here that most of the color is lifting and moving. I didn't get enough of the Inktense down for the colors to stay. So here I'm going back in with that kind of Payne's gray, blue, very dark blue, and it blends with the green really nicely actually. So I'm outlining the leafy shapes that I had made and adding a few extra and adding some scribbly texture, kind of bring out those leafy shapes a little bit more. Um, Adding some more green in there, just playing around with that soupy kind of wet into wet thing that the Inktense do. So here I decide I'm going to play around with doing a skull. And with that same dark blue, Payne's gray kind of color. Hit it with a little bit of water and a fine brush. I want to keep that detail. Extending out the teeth. And then what I'm trying to do is get that color around the head to kind of spread out a little bit around it. And here you can see I'm moving that color around. The good thing about the Deli paper is that it's not overly absorbent, so stuff moves around on it pretty well. So I decide here I'm going to use my India ink color, and I'm going to make some scribbly texture around that skull because I think it's going to look really cool as a collage material. So these little scribbly lines coming out from around the skull, just adding a little bit of texture, a little visual texture and interest to that page. And a little darkness in around the eyes and the nose. Then I decide I want to really test out that loose, sketchy scribble look and see what that looks like. And I can already tell here that as I was scribbling that I wasn't getting enough pigment on the page that the scribbles would show up. And so that's a bit of a problem with the Inktense on the Deli paper, is that you've got to have enough pigment on the Deli paper that you're not going to melt it all entirely when you go into it with the water. So here you can see I got some greenish tinted water. I'm using my big brush again, adding a lot of water. And I'm seeing exactly what I just told you, that I'm really moving that pigment around a lot, and I don't have any of the scribbles left behind. So I go back in and I do the wet into wet. This is something that I really like with the Inktense, is that when you work wet into wet, you get a really intense dark line with the Derwent Inktense pencils. So you can see, like, this line is so much darker than what I had before. And, I'm just intensifying some of those lines. And then I decide that I'm going to come in and with a red, and I'm going to make circles in the open areas with this Inktense pencil. And yeah, it's super simple technique. You can, in a hour session, make dozens of little sheets like this, and it's fun. So yeah, make yourself some collage materials. All right, so thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed what I did in this little video, hit that thumbs up and hit subscribe. Thanks, everyone.